Hey everyone, Jacob Howard here, and today we are going to discuss my top 10 tips for your first flight. Tip number 1, choosing the right location. For your first flight, we recommend a big, open, grassy field or park free from trees, obstacles, and people or animals. The softer and fluffier the grass, the better, but not grass tall enough that it will be hard to find your drone. It's also a good idea to fly at a location you know. Things look a lot different when you're up in the air and you want to be able to fly the drone back to yourself. So pick a flying location where it'll be easy to locate yourself from the sky. Tip number 2, fly in good weather. As a beginner pilot, it's best to fly in good weather. You want to protect your drone from getting wet, so flying in rain or right after a rain when the grass might be wet is not recommended. Also, flying in high wind will affect how your quad flies, so for your first flights, it's best to pick a nice calm day. Tip number 3, fly with another pilot. There are a lot of FPV pilots out there that are happy to help. It's a good idea to reach out on social media to find someone to fly with. Having an experienced pilot can be valuable in case something goes wrong or to just help coach you through your first flight. If you cannot find a pilot, at least go out with a spotter your first rounds. Tip number 4, fly low. For your first flight, you don't want to be testing the limits of how fast, high, or far you can fly. It's best to fly slow and to only fly what we call a couple of mistakes high. This means fly high enough that if you make a mistake, you have time to correct it before you hit the ground. Tip number 5, learn your arm switch. Your arm and disarm switch might not seem like an important thing to practice, but it's a good idea to get used to arming and disarming your drone. You need to have a good feel and muscle memory for where your switch is on your controller, so if you get in trouble or crash, you can quickly disarm to stop the motors from spinning. It's also good to familiarize yourself with the other switches on your transmitter, so if you need to switch modes while in flight, you can do so without looking at your transmitter. Tip number 6, takeoffs and landings. You will want to become proficient at taking off, controlling your speed, direction, and landing. Getting high up in the air is easy, but making a well-controlled landing low to the ground can be challenging. Try taking off and hovering a few feet off the ground, then try to bring it in nice and easy. Remember to disarm as soon as you touch the ground or a few inches above. Try doing this several times, getting a little higher each flight until you're comfortable with coming in low and landing. Tip number 7, fly a figure 8. Now it doesn't sound like a lot of fun, but flying a good figure 8 can be hard. Don't be afraid to make it a big figure 8, then gradually see if you can make it smaller. This will help you get used to making left and right-handed turns using both sticks simultaneously. Tip number 8, don't overcorrect. Overcorrecting is one of the biggest mistakes I see new pilots make. Although you are in control of your drone, remember that your drone wants to keep flying in whatever direction it is currently heading. Make an adjustment and it'll head that direction and want to keep flying that way. Just like with driving a car or a bike, small movements can make big changes, especially at high speeds. Make small changes and see how it affects your drone. Tip number 9, disarm when needed. When flying, especially your first flight, if you get in a big mess, it is best to disarm and let your drone fall. This usually results in the least amount of damage to your property or other people's property. Your drone can handle a fall. Disarm when needed though, such as when you lose control. Use the disarm with caution, but also don't be afraid to use it. Tip number 10, how to handle a crash. If and when you crash, the first thing to remember is to disarm your drone. You don't want the motors to keep spinning while on the ground. If they keep spinning, you risk damaging your props and even damaging the motors themselves. In most cases where you take a little tumble in the grass, you can just turn the drone right side up and keep on flying. But it's a good idea after every crash to check and see if the props got bent and to make sure each motor can still spin freely. In very hard crashes, the first thing you should do is unplug the battery, then look over the drone for damage. Check for cracks on each arm on the frame, check each motor to make sure none of the motor bells are bent and that the motor can spin by hand with no resistance. If a prop does get bent, you can usually bend it back into place. But if there are cracks in the prop, do not fly it, replace it. Check the video transmitter antenna for damage, look at the electronics and make sure everything is still connected and free of debris, then plug the battery in and do a hover test before doing anything else extreme. So those are my top 10 tips for your first flight. These steps are outlined in a PDF you can download below so you can bring them on your first flight. If you guys have any questions, definitely let us know and have fun flying.